Is it okay for all of you to be in the relationship of lover with yourself? Of course it is. But how much programming, how much counter-intention is there to that? Of course it's okay. Because all it is to be a lover is to be someone that loves. That's what it means. But there's this whole culture, particularly in the West, that love equates to sex. So the word lover has become something which has something of a romantic or a sexual connotation to it. And that's simply not so. So ultimately, the society that we are moving towards the transformation into is a society of lovers, where everyone is a lover. Which makes perfect sense, but it brings something up in all of you. I can feel it. It makes part of you uncomfortable. So I want you to be aware of that part of you which is uncomfortable. Because that's part of you which still has the idea tied up that love and sex are almost synonymous terms. They mean the same thing. All right? So part of integrated mastery on the human level is to really get that clear that love and sex are not the same thing. Because sex is a type of communication. All it is a type of communication. Okay, so love doesn't equal having a conversation with someone, a verbal conversation, does it? Yet, the interaction which occurs on an energy level when you're into a really intense, full-on conversation with someone, clairvoyantly, if you look at the interplay of energy, it's not so different to having a sexual exchange with someone. It's really not so different. You're engaging full-on, coupling even. You know, when you're really full-on into a communication verbally with someone and you couple with them on some level. You know that sense? And you'd stop having to use all of the words and you stop using a lot of prepositions and you start finishing each other's sentences. You know that experience? How is that less intimate than having some sort of sexual connection with someone? It's not really, is it? So you've got to get really clear on this whole idea of what it is to be a lover and what communication really entails. So I just want to run a little process which helps you to clear out in your understanding any of this cross-categorization, as I call it, where you have categories in your memory banks which have been labelled, different boxes which have been labelled with the same thing. You've got a love box and you've got a sex box, but they're both labelled or whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it's labelled, but they're labelled the same thing. Because if you've got that sort of stuff happening, it means that something which is meant to be clearly delineated as building blocks have been labelled the same thing in your memory banks. That's really all it means. So the God within you has a much greater expanded understanding of all of that. So I want you to imagine that there's kind of an internal librarian in your energy matrix, and that internal librarian works for the God within you and only takes directions from the God within you. And I would like you to give permission to that librarian within you to go through your library catalogue and re-categorize everything from the perspective of the God within you. Now, if you have a huge issue surrounding some of those categories being altered, then that's going to be projected out and manifested as dramas or phenomena in your life, so that you can see it for what it is and bring it back to yourself. However, if you just kind of see it for what it is and let it go, there's no need to experience the drama. Experiencing the drama is not better or worse than simply going, oh, I don't believe that anymore, I don't feel that, and just letting it go. It's just however you choose to integrate the learning. One will take longer than the other, but there's no problem with that either. It's entirely up to you and how you choose to regulate your own journey. Do you give permission to the God within you, the God spark within you, to direct your internal librarian to go through and re-categorize those sorts of interlaced connections within your energy matrix and your memory banks? Because you know love and sex aren't the same thing. You've got thousands upon thousands of those misconceptions. That's what a misconception is. A concept which is linked to another concept. And you've come to believe that the concepts are the same thing when they're not the same thing at all. And that's what creates a lot of the confusion. So you've all reached a point of integration in your process where you can just give permission as part of the overlighting involved with the life coaching program to instigate a process whereby the God within takes a bit of a backward step and goes, well, there's some misconceptions happening there, and some were from the newspaper today, and some were from 10,000 years ago, and some were from a parallel life, and some were from here. It doesn't matter where they're from. But a lot of them will be deemed by the God within you and the Master within you to be superfluous, to be somewhat irrelevant to who you are now and the path that you're on. Do you give permission in this moment for the internal librarian working for the God within to go through and sort all that out for you and remove those misconceptions? And do you also withdraw your free will to halt the process once it starts? Okay, because that is the act of a master. To say, I want my memory banks re-spatialized so that they're all about love and all of those fear-based misconceptions are removed from my memory banks, and I also put right protect on. So my soul, so my ego, so my personality cannot interfere with the process once it starts. That's the commitment of a master. And when you start manifesting dramas associated with that, then it's just the old manifesting and you have the opportunity to re-choose. Oh, no, I don't choose that. What do I choose? Well, then wait and see what the universe presents to you. And when you see what the choices are, go, wow, I'm going to have some of that. Whoa, that's fun. That's moving away from putting band-aids on things when you make a mistake and starting to say, okay, I'm actually don't need to continue to make mistakes in inverted commas all the time to do my learning. I can actually take a proactive approach rather than a retroactive approach. Rather than dealing with things after they occur, I can actually start to choose and set my course. By setting that in motion, that's one of the ways that you can actually do that. So in, of and for love in service to all that is, if you simply choose that in this moment, in, of and for love in service to all that is, feel the power of love and allow love to restore the balance. with a bit of luck, that process will take about 70 or 80 years. Depends how many lifetimes you've had, and it will happen as fast as you are able to let go of the preconceptions which you have an emotional investment in. Okay, because as some of that is respatialized, you have an emotional investment in the illusions and the glamours associated with those misconceptions. Because those misconceptions are allowing you to justify not being the master that you are. Yeah? The misconceptions you are emotionally invested in maintaining so that you have an excuse to not be the master that you are. So you have an excuse to engage in dysfunctional behaviour. So you have an excuse to self-contract. So you set such a process alchemically in motion, and then it will run as fast as you are prepared to go, that's the old, that's the old, that's the old, that's the old, I choose the new, I choose the new, I don't know what the new is, but I choose the new, 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 I choose the new. I choose the new, I choose the new, I choose the new, I choose the new. Or you can go, oh, I used to really be into that and I used to get a lot out of that, you know, that used to satisfy my Messiah complex or my sex addiction or my whatever. I think I might have a little bit more of that just to make sure that I don't want it anymore. And if you do that, then you will go, oh, gee, it used to be good, now it's not. And you'll create a little bit more of a karmic mess to clean up. So then you could have just let it go in the moment and go, well, I did give that up and transcend that because I didn't want to do it anymore. So I accept that that's still the case. And then you just go on to the next one. I'll choose the new, I 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 choose the new, and 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 I choose the new, choose the new, choose the new, choose the new, choose the new. We're there yet? I choose the new, I choose the new, I choose the new, I choose the new. Or you can go, ah, that looks attractive. There's some of the old. That must mean that God wants me to indulge in the old again, otherwise it wouldn't have been there, because everything happens for a reason. Oh, okay, let's go back into that. Oh, that's why I remember now why I didn't want to do that anymore. Oh, bum, I've just created 9 years of karma. Okay, here we go, let's sort that out. Let's sort that out, okay. Back, and 9 years later, oh, wow, okay, cool. Oh. I choose the new. Oh, there's the old. Counter-intention. Okay. Oh, gee, that looks good. I think I'll go and have a bit of a wow. Oops, now I remember why I didn't want to do that. Oh, bum, this one takes 3.5 years. Okay. Okay, 3.5 years, back, you get back to, I choose the new. Oh, that one takes 18 years. Okay, whoa. Oh, that one actually produced death. I did remember that from a past life. Whoops. Come back, build another body, find some more parents, hopefully not get screwed up, hopefully you can find someone that reminds you who you are, who will love you and cherish you and support you, and you go, oh, I choose the new. I have this vague recollection of deja vu here. Okay. But just in case, so it can happen as quick as you choose it to happen, right? It can happen as quick as you choose it to happen. I choose the new, I choose the new, I choose the new, and it just drifts away. And then as those glamours and those illusions fall away, all that's left is the love and the service. And the joy of the service. Your choice. Your choice. You know the drill, you know the process. Take as long as you like. Take as long as you like. You've got an eternity. Honestly. The only real choice is how fast it's going to happen. Any idea what I'm talking about? You're feeling loved? Your own lover. Some of you are trying to get out of your bodies to avoid the experience of the intimacy with me. And that of course is fine. However, the relationship contract that we have is such that you actually challenge me to love you but beyond your ability to receive love, to expand your capacity for love. So not only will I love you, I will cherish you. I cherish each one of you. I really cherish each one of you. I cherish you as an individual aspect of God. However, I also cherish you for being in my life. I genuinely cherish you. I also genuinely appreciate you. I really appreciate all of you. Your resistance to love, your resistance to being love, your counter-intention gives me an opportunity to expand my capacity to love. And for that I am deeply grateful. I am so grateful to you. I cherish you, I appreciate you, and I am grateful to each one of you. I really am grateful to each one of you. Are you open to receiving my gratitude and appreciation? Are you open to feeling how much I cherish you? Are you going to allow that though? That's a whole other thing, isn't it? It's just so easy to love. It really is. All of you have an enormous capacity for love, otherwise you wouldn't be here.
When you were telling us that you were now going to love us and to be open to feel it and stuff, I just feel more and more fear about doing it. And I think obviously I probably started to judge that the more, because I just felt myself contract more and more and more.
Yeah.
I didn't feel it.
It's what if I like it? What if he loves me? What if I like it? And what if he stops?
Sorry?
That's the experience. Okay, I'm going to love you. Your response is, wow, if I open up to receiving that love and I like it, then what if he takes it away? Hence, the only real thing that I can share with you which is permanent is the ability to love you, love yourself the way that I love you. The thing about allowing yourself to be opened up to feeling how I feel about you and how I genuinely appreciate and grateful to you and appreciate you is that once you experience that, you lose some of your belief in being unlovable. Because if I'm able to love you, then you can't be completely, absolutely unlovable because I'm able to love you. So that makes it more difficult for the ego to try to convince you that you are unlovable, because you have had demonstrated to you that you are lovable and you are able to be loved and you are able to receive love. So it doesn't matter if I take it away, mate, because you're going to be loving yourself. So come here anyway, because I want to give you a hug.
Yeah, free hug. Free hug. Free hug. Free hug.
I love you. I really, 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 really love you. I know probably more about you than you know about yourself. I know pretty much your deepest, darkest secrets from all of this life and other lifetimes, and I absolutely love you anyway. Wow. I find you to be an absolutely delightful creature with such a wondrous, wondrous heart. You give and give and give and give and give. And I'm very grateful to have you. I'm just so deeply, deeply grateful. And what a contribution you just made to the wondrous ascension event that we've just had. An amazing performer, an amazing dancer, an amazing friend. Just such a great light. And how arrogant it is for you to believe that I'm wrong.
Oh no, I don't know, I think I've left my body or something. I don't feel like I'm here.
I love you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that believes that I don't know everything about you? And I still love you. I am very grateful to have all of you here as part of my community and my loving radiatory centre. I really am very grateful to you, and I see an enormous amount of potential in all of you. Otherwise I wouldn't, because I love myself, I wouldn't be wasting my time otherwise. I really do, because I love myself. I don't think that's a bad thing. I love myself. I used to be told with my Catholic upbringing all the time, it's really a bad thing to love yourself, you know, that's conceited. And I'd walk home from school and the kids from the public school used to spit on me and beat me up all the time. And the more I loved them, the more I used to evoke these sorts of responses. So for a long time I believed it was, a bad thing to love yourself. So I would start to deny myself things which brought joy into my life to make myself more holy and more loved by God. I've done all of that stuff. It's easy to recognise because I've done it all. The addictions, the whole thing, I've done it all. So I don't judge you for any of that. What I commend you for is being over it. And I can help you seriously with the tools that are necessary for you to take control of your lives and take control of your own destinies and remove all of these intermediaries between yourself and God. If you but choose. If you but choose. And, you guys, as you get more comfortable with me, I wield the tough love hammer fairly comfortably, fairly easily. If you're full of shit, I say you're full of shit. So all my agenda is as sinister as doing what I can to assist you to genuinely learn to love yourselves. That's pretty much it. And then that love will nurture your mastery within yourself. Building a light body and spinning Merkabas and blah, 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 blah ain't going to do anything to teach you to feel worthy, is it? And it doesn't, because you've tried all of that. It doesn't work. I hope that what you feel from me is the potential within yourself of an eventuality of you genuinely honouring, loving, cherishing, appreciating yourself and all that you are, and then radiating that to others and having that effect upon everyone that you encounter. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. And it's other people's opinions of that are none of my business, really, because that's my choice. That's what I honestly believe is the best thing for me to do, my chosen learning, to teach other people to love themselves. And I get reactions, I get counter-intention coming at me from everywhere. That counter-intention is none of my business. I'm not interested in it. It's irrational. I personally believe that teaching other people to love themselves is the most constructive thing that I can do with my energy. So I'm doing it. If it turns out that I learn in some later moment, some future moment, that there is something else that I can do with my time, with my energy, with my experience, with my influence, that feels, it makes my heart sing more, then I'll do that. But at the moment, this is what makes my heart sing the most, so that's the line that I'm following. And the magic works, guys. Honestly, the magic works. Seriously apply it. The worst that's going to happen is you're going to end up loving, appreciating, honouring yourself, feeling worthy. And then gifts can be bestowed from the God within and the God without. That's the process. Is that not the ancient way? Is not that the ancient way? This is a very, very, very ancient mechanism of self-transcendence, and it's in a very pure form that I utilise. What I'm doing is fertilising, cultivating, nourishing the God within each one of you with my own love. That's all I'm doing. The God within you, I'm using my own love to penetrate through your resistance, your counter-intention to love. I am penetrating through your counter-resistance, and you're giving me permission to do that. And I am fanning the God flame within you. I am using my love to nurture the love within you. And it will roar out and engulf you. That's what it will do. If you but choose. If you stay in relationship with me. There's a certain amount of trust. You've got to trust that I've got some idea what I'm doing, and there's method in the madness. And those of you who've had some experiences like that with me, good for you to share with some of the others the way that process works, because there will be times when you'll swear that I am completely insane. And a little while later on you'll go, oh, that's why he was doing that. Because I'm just seeing something from a little bit different perspective than your egoic contraction in that moment. What I'm teaching you to do is to set boundaries, because that's what you got trouble doing. About boundaries. Because the reality of it is that not everything out there is sweetness and light. So if you just wander around completely open, radiating love, you're going to be attacked. You're going to be considered hostile. So there's this thing I say, you've got to learn to be able to snarl with your energy. I love you. I love you. Other aspect of God here that is attacking me, attempting to destroy me. I love you. Off. No judgment intended. Because I choose what expressions of God are appropriate to be within my immediate sphere. So I set boundaries, I base boundaries upon how I find people. If you're just going to pour love out to people, sometimes that just encourages dysfunction, and people will take it as validation that the status quo is actually something that you want to continue. Boundaries are so important. I'm not going to go into a lot of stuff on boundaries now because it's covered so extensively in the Sonic Alchemy series. And also doing the Cosmosis integrations will really help you to accelerate that whole process of working with the Sonic Alchemy series. What I was finding was an enormous amount of revelation, and 12 months later it had filtered down into translated change on the ground. I would expect that process to be potentially sped up by at least a factor of 100 through the use of the Cosmosis processing. Because it takes away so much of that inherent counter-intention. It will take out huge chunks. If you're not committed anymore to your own counter-intention, the Cosmosis basically takes that counter-intention out of your system. So saves you wasting the time of having to work through that. So you can more manifest that revealed truth within you, which sets you to the work of the healing and the being in love.
I thought sooner was better than later.
Nothing's better or worse than anything else, because that's judgment.
Yes, I know. But I thought with Gaia, the more we did now, the quicker was better.
But that's judgment.
Yep, I know that too.
But if you didn't know it, you say, you thought this,
Yeah.
but you knew something different, which means you've got a split operating in your psyche, which means that you haven't integrated the learning. What you've done is got your old beliefs, which you're clinging to and you're emotionally invested in, and you've piled a heap of new ones in there as well. So you're hedging your bets. You're just hedging your bets. You've got the new and the old. And time will tell what works the best. Love's not better. Love's just love. It's not better. Love's not better than fear, because they're not opposites. They're just various levels of the same vibration rate, with various levels of purity and various levels of interference and contamination. Something's not better than another. That's you being self-righteous. That's you wanting revenge on whatever's creating the interference. That's you setting up the desire for retribution. Quite seriously. Every time you judge something, no matter how harmless it appears to be, you are projecting a desire for revenge. And it's that which perpetuates self-contraction. That is what perpetuates self-contraction. The desire for revenge. Every time you feel that your sense of fair play has been offended, that something's not right, that something is better or worse, right or wrong, you set in motion currents of revenge. And it's those currents which operate within the collective psyche and fester like sores and produce things like the Great War of Love, the last century. Right? Because it was those festering feelings of negativity coming to the surface. Just like something, you've ever had a boil or some sort of a eruption on the skin where some toxins in the body need to get out. So it comes up like a big pimple thing, like a boil, and sometimes it's got to be lanced to let the poison out. That was something which was festering under the surface coming out so that it can be cleansed. Nothing is better or worse, it's simply choice. It's simply choice. So if you don't comprehend that, you're not really integrating to a really core level and letting go of the old. That's the reality of it. You need to, and that means that you're not really fully present here. That's what he just did to me. Stuck his finger up at me. Oh, 1 minute, mate. 1 minute of the video left. I thought you were giving me the finger. Do it. These are not the drones you're looking for.